Welcome to Report Writing with InsightFill. This is the first installment. This is where you learn how to sign up and to also enter test scores. So from the InsightFill.com page, what you would do is just sign up. And in order to do that, you just click on the sign up button. It will automatically register your free credits. Here you would have to put in your information, and you would also want to create your user profile. Your user profile will help explain where you're from and what information you'd like in your report. If you press the home button, it'll say leave page. Yes, that's fine. You want to leave page and go back into the home area to add a client. So you can just add a client, put in his or her first name and last name, and then what you would want to do is then start entering data. So let's just make one, and you could provide a description if you'd like. If you've already got one, you would just simply click on this button and scroll until you find the client that you want to work with. When you get to test results, this is where you would input or edit information. So I'm just going to press the button here on edit and input. You'd want to put in the first and last name of the individual, and that's very important or it won't register. You want to put in his or her birth date, which you can just do manually by the month, date, and year. And the reason that we do that is because it does potentially help people with respect to birth dates to make it something that could be extracted for later research if needed. The client is in school. We would want to click this button because this would help enable recommendations and so on that are school related. You'd also want to pick the grade and age level of the individual, whether it's an adult who's not in school or whether there is an adult who's in college or university. The medication tab is just for yourselves. It doesn't really affect the test scores. It's just whether you want a pre and post medication type of profile that you're looking at. You would then press the next button, and then it would show the information about your organization and firm and yourself, and you would put in your testing dates, which you just put in here, and it would also populate your front page of your report. And then when you get to the test scores, you'll see that there's a pick button over here, and these pick buttons are prevalent throughout the software so that you can choose items from pick lists. And in this case, there's a lot of different things, so I'm going to pick maybe a whisk 5 and a Wyatt 3, and I'll pick a Basque 3 and maybe a brief 2. We have more than 1,400 subtests represented, so if you don't see what you usually work with, you just have to reach us, and then we'll talk about providing you with the test scores that are missing. We can update the template for everyone as soon as we're notified. So in this case, we'll start with the whisk, and you're going to just add in the reported score, and all you would do is either type in the first 3 letters of the subtest or just scroll down and pick it. You'd put in the scaled score, standard score, and you must tab over to this area so that the percentile will be generated. You can also what you would do is continue in any order that you want, and it will do the work for you. Once it's finished, it will categorize it, so that's why you can do it in any order that you want. If you have a situation where the sometimes like in the WJ series there is a percentile that might be a little bit off, you can always override it, put in a different number if you'd like. And also the other thing you can do is qualify scores. So let's say the person did an arithmetic score and it was very effortful. We could type in effortful under a weakness comment. If you wanted to put in a full scale IQ or anything like that, you could put that in, as well as base rates. So let's say that the VCI is going to be greater than the let's say the visual spatial index. We could do that, and we could just physically type in what the base rate was. When you're finished, you must press confirm. Do not press just save data and exit. You must press confirm. The confirm button is what's confirming the scores. When you get into opinion-based information, what it's going to allow you to do, let's say it's the parent that filled it out, is you'll notice that you can't fill out the test scores and percentiles because they're T-scores. But you can fill out the general trends that you see. And if you wanted to, you could add a T-score. But it's not necessary because these are opinion-based. You could put the strengths over here and any other things that you wanted to add in. You also put in the mother's name or whoever filled out the form over there so that you can remember whose information you're referring to in the report. Press confirm again, and then when you're finished adding in all this information, you can do it at any time in any order, and you can add in new ones if you want by going to the selected checklist. When you're finished, then you would press save data and exit. When you press yes, download now, what's going to happen is it's going to pop out of the cloud and go onto your computer, but the client data that you see is code. It's not sorted yet, so please don't worry when you see that code. That's just backing up your data. When you get back into InsightFill, you would select your client, and if you want to see the report assembled, you press the assemble button. And after it finishes assembling, which sometimes takes a few minutes, it will then produce a chart of test scores entered and an appendix of test scores entered. What's important is that you pick the appendix of test scores entered because the appendix is where all the sorted categories are, whereas the chart of test scores is just the order in which all the RAML information is and all the WISC information, the order in which the test scores are done within each test, and we really don't want to do that. We want to see something sorted. So once it pops into our computer, you have an appendix of test scores, which I'm going to pull up right now, and these here are fully editable. So if you wanted to add in something over here, let's say you wanted to add in a comment or you wanted to move things around, you could just move them around as you would in any table. You could change scores if you wanted to. You could add in comments by just highlighting something, pressing the right click button, and then you would just merge the cells so that you could have a little bit more space and write in a comment here. You can also dictate if you have dictation software. So sometimes what I do is I will just dictate. Okay, and that's something that's very important that you can do. It is important that once it comes onto your computer that you save it as a name in a file structure that you're familiar with on your laptop. And once you save it, it's really important that it if you are editing it, that you realize that it's not going to be edited on the cloud anymore. It's only on your software and on your computer. So do keep that in mind. And that's it for test scores.